The chime of the bell beckons us into a sacred time. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Houston, where we widen love's circle by honoring the inherent worth and dignity of all. We extend a heartfelt and inclusive invitation to join us in meaningful worship and in service to the world. Buenos días y bienvenidos a esta comunidad donde ampliamos el círculo del amor honrando el valor y la dignidad inherentes de todos. We greet all those who join us this morning. We hope those watching the live stream will fill out the online attendance form and refer to the many announcements in the online order of service. We ask those here in person to take a moment to check in by scanning the QR code on the front of your order of service. Then, after the service, seek out and introduce yourself to someone you don't yet know. We have visitors every single Sunday, and so I hope that you help make them feel welcome. We thank Mike Hellman for his gift of music, not only the special music later, but the prelude and the postlude. So now, please join Chelsea D'Souza and today's song leader, Jim McGahee, for our opening hymn.
Good morning, everyone. Please open your gray hymnal and find hymn number 16, and rise in body or in spirit and sing "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple." This is a short one. We're going to sing it through twice. "'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, we bow and to bend, we shan't be ashamed. Turn, will be our delight, till by turning, we come round right. 'Tis our gift to be simple, 'tis our gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, we bow and to bend, we shan't be ashamed. To turn, will be our delight, till by turning, we come round right.
Come, each of you, come into this place. Come, you with devotion to the act of unfolding, you who were created only a little lower than the angels. Come, you struggling under the weight of humanness, you with unmet needs, and you with much to give. Come, you with your complexities and paradox and wonderings, you who are building new suns. Out of ordinary life, we arrive today to answer love's invitation. On the pulse of this new day, our coming together makes this space sacred. Come, let us worship.
Please join me in reciting our congregational covenant, which can be found in your order of service. Love is the spirit of our congregation. Service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to encourage one another. Thus do we covenant.
If life was a song, we've been playing it wrong. As far as I can tell, it's about what you can package and sell. So hang on to your heartless cliches. I'll let go with the words on this page. Have a nice day, 'cause we'll make our own way. Well, for song, it's the sound of the soul. It sure seems it's just as black as the coal. So forget what the company's selling. Just remember these stories I'm telling. All sweat, no pay, but that's okay, 'cause we'll make our own way. We'll make our own way. We'll have our own say. We'll carry torch to the end and pass it on one day. So sister, sing me your stories, bend away at the strings of my soul, and let come what may. We'll make our own way. Come what may. 'Cause we'll make our own way. We'll make our own way.
Thank you so much. That was great. This is one of my favorite times in the service because it's when I get to see how many of the littlest UUs are here, sitting there about to jump up and do something cool. So We also like to remind you at this point how important you are to the life of this church and how much we love you. And you're not just part of our future, you are very much a part of our church right now. So John is going to take you for some cool activities. I'm really not sure even what they are today. But as you all head out, I'm going to ask the people left behind to pull up in your order of service as you go and sing as you all head out. We yearn for peace and quiet, and yet our world is currently experiencing a great deal of violence and cacophony. And so, in order to center ourselves and calm our minds, we have set aside this time to breathe together in peace and quiet, to connect to that which is larger than ourselves. With intention and care, we enter into a time of stillness. This is a time that some call meditation and others name prayer. God of many names and mystery beyond all our naming, despite being gathered in community with many beloved who share our values, despite the many reasons for joy in our lives, and reasons to express gratitude, Spirit of life, there are events in our country that distract and upset us. We are not the first in our country to fight oppression, hate, and division, and not the first in the world to fight authoritarianism and fascism. We are not the first to see the wealthy and powerful fight to keep poor and marginalized people disempowered, silent, and struggling. We know that on paper, if not in practice, our country was intended as a place created for and by equals and endowed with the inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those who look back at our history may conclude these intentions were facades for cynically using people to amass wealth for a few. A country that loved things and used people instead of loving people and using things. Give us the strength to reclaim our highest ideals and make more real than ever a country that affirms the inherent worth and dignity of all people. We ask that our spirits not be allowed to be depleted and hardened by the forces of hate. We ask to be nourished and transformed by the movement for justice, resistance to authoritarianism, and the restoration of democracy. May we remember that all that we stand for propels us more than what we stand against. At the center of our work is love, joy, and the spirit of abundance. These are the things we are fighting for and the things we are fighting with. As we seek to build the beloved community, we invite others into an irresistible movement to widen love's circle, a love beyond belief. We pray in the names of all those known and unknown, present and absent, remembered and forgotten. We pray in the names of all helpers of humankind. Amen. We pause now together to lift up that which sits heavy and light on our hearts. Michael Morrison's mother, Jackie Morrison, recently passed away after a time in hospice. We send our condolences to the entire family. Many beloved in our church family are recovering from accidents, illnesses, or medical procedures. Our hearts go out to each of them, and we send them healing wishes. We place a book in the foyer so that as you enter, you may write down joys and concerns that you may want us to be aware of. And Someone has written, and this is indeed true, that we are sending caring and loving wishes to Remington, Val, and Friday Elise. Misha Barak is a prayer in the Jewish tradition for the healing of those whose names are called out by congregants. There are similar practices in the African, indigenous, and pagan traditions. We honor these rituals by saying aloud or bringing to mind those who we wish to be held by the loving embrace of this religious community. They are part of the great cloud of witness and memory, and we will, even if we do not know their names, hold them in our hearts. In this great cloud of witness and memory, amid this beloved community, we hear these names and hold them in our hearts. Let us remember the suffering and joy amid and among our community that we do not know. It has been written, "Let me find peace within so that I may be calm throughout. Let me find silence within so that I may find compassion throughout." In the spirit of love, in the spirit of hope, and in the spirit of compassion, I now invite each of you to enter into a time of silent prayer, meditation, or reflection.
In the quiet of this place, may this moment fill with grace. This is my prayer, this is my prayer. May the sense of mystery guide us through our journey. This is my prayer, this is my prayer. This is my prayer.
Each week, our morning offering is shared with an organization that shares our Unitarian Universalist values. Through our generosity, our work in the world is proliferated, and our values are brought to life. This week, we are supporting Meadville Lombard Theological School, one of 2 Unitarian Universalist seminaries in America. Since its founding in 1844, Meadville has prepared spiritual leaders to rise to the moment with agility, inclusiveness, equity, and global consciousness. Similar to our shared faith, Meadville Lombard has an institutional record of adapting to the needs of an ever-changing community with innovation and creativity. Meadville also serves as the only exclusive Unitarian Universalist archive in the world and maintains a rich, multi-religious collection that includes topics often overlooked or excluded by traditional archives. In such precarious times, our support of these values-driven institutions is critical to their survival. Those in our sanctuary will find the instructions for text giving in the order of service, and those watching the live stream will see the instructions on your screen. Our regular Sunday morning offering collection invites us to weave a tapestry of love and action. We ask you to give generously. An offering will now be gratefully received.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Please join me in dedicating your generous offering with the words that are in your order of service. To the work of this church, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives and these our offerings.
Our first reading is an excerpt by Parker Palmer from Practicing Peace, a devotional walk through the Quaker tradition. God comes to us in the midst of human need, and the most pressing needs of our time demand community in response. How can I participate in a fairer distribution of resources unless I live in a community, which makes it possible to consume less? How can I learn accountability unless I live in a community where my acts and their consequences are visible to all? How can I learn to share power unless I live in a community where hierarchy is unnatural? How can I take the risks which right action demands unless I belong to a community which gives support? How can I learn the sanctity of each life unless I live in a community where we can be persons, not roles, to one another? Herein ends the first reading.
Our second reading is an excerpt from the book Undrowned, Black Feminist Lessons from Marine Animals by Alexis Pauline Gooms. Pantropical spotted dolphins are synchronized swimmers and community builders. They travel in pods of hundreds, but within the pods, they organize into groups of 20 or less and time their diving and beautiful acrobatics to be exactly in sync. Out in the ocean, they participate in mobile interspecies collectives consisting of other dolphins, yellowfin tuna, and seabirds. Scientists have different theories about why they do this, most of which can be summarized in these words. Knowing who they're with helps them know where they're at and where they want to be. Maybe this is part of their pantropical resilience, because despite the serious and wasteful harm of decades of tuna net strangulation, they remain one of the most abundant species of dolphin on the planet. I think of the great organizers with pantropical visions like Claudia Jones, Shirley Chisholm, Mila Aguilar, Mama Tingo. Hallelujah, there are too many to name. And now, I think of you. When I can't see the shore, I'm here timing my breath to yours. Knowing collectively, we can leap, we can dive, we can practice our faith in each other. Here ends the second reading.
Please open your teal hymnals to number 1051 and rise in body or in spirit to sing We Are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreaming. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great vision. We're sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers, and arises, sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are.
In the nursery of my childhood home hung a piece of art that read, "A child is not a thing to be molded, but a person to be unfolded." I, then my younger sister, then our younger brother, slept near that art all our baby years. I asked my mom about it last week. She told me it encapsulated her parenting philosophy wholly, that everybody is their own unique person, and her job as a parent was to keep us safe and protected, but help us have the experiences and the confidence to unfold into who we were meant to be. And what a tender sentiment. How easy it is to extend that kind of grace to a snuggly little satisfiable baby without much autonomy or mobility. I think anyone who has loved children can relate to the experience of gazing at them, feeling protective of their best interests and hopeful for the future. But how many of us can tap into that same generosity of spirit with an emotionally distant partner, a noisy neighbor, a needy relative, someone who voted against your rights? It's not so easy to gaze upon them with hearts in our eyes and say, "Oh, you're just unfolding into the person you're meant to be." That kind of work, building tolerance for what's different, is something that I love about Unitarian Universalism. Having found my way to this faith community in my early 20s, I quickly recognized that our spaces, when tended to with care, provide a sanctuary for many who have been rejected elsewhere, while also acting as incubators for diverse people to explore diverse relationships. The bounties of our space are many, though we are no more panacea of community than any other space built by fallible people with good intentions. I learned a lot about community from being a part of my home congregation in Las Vegas. In a particularly changeful time, we cycled through 2 ministers and then into a season of lay leadership. While there was strong shared belief that we belonged together, we were often faced with situations that highlighted how, despite our shared values, we used different strategies to bring them to life. And there isn't a better way for me to illustrate this dynamic for you than to tell you a little story about what we called the back lot. The Unitarian Universalist congregation of Las Vegas occupies an old Elks Lodge in a lower income neighborhood of the city. The church's proximity to families and communities with need meant that we didn't need to go far to do the work of widening Love's Circle. The land that was owned by the church included the building itself, and then a couple acres behind the building that housed our trash cans and a small shed, and was otherwise relatively undisrupted natural desert landscape. What to do with this plot of land was a recurring conversation. The ideas, some materialized, some not, included hosting a cell tower and using the earnings to upkeep the property, converting the lot into a playground and a basketball court for the many families who were our neighbors, creating a garden or a green space that could serve as a spiritual respite, giving the land back to the indigenous Southern Paiute peoples, partitioning the lot and selling off part of it, and so many more. In the absence of decisions and follow-through, the space ended up blighted and sometimes occupied by houseless folks who would occasionally burn fires to keep warm and who once burned down a tree on the property. The community coalesced around the issue: what to do about this backlot space. There were as many opinions, fears, and interests as people in the room. And these diversions of opinion were not unemotional or simple matters. For example, regarding the matter of our houseless neighbors, some members of the congregation felt it is our job to offer as much safety and shelter as we can, while others felt unsafe around the people, their behaviors, and the messes that they often left. They even suggested using police force to have them removed, which pulled another complicated thread. Having cops invited into our sanctuary of safety and equity and justice made some people feel safer and others much less safe. I share this example because it's important to remember that just because our communities share a set of core values doesn't mean we have the same ideas of how to bring them to life. It seems that through time and space, crossing language barriers and political regimes, In intimate relationships or on a global scale, the gritty and difficult parts of building and sustaining community are evergreen, which means our commitment to working toward peace and resilience in community must be too. We've always been trying and failing and trying again to build beloved community, which is formed, Bell Hooks says, not by the eradication of difference, but instead its affirmation, by each of us claiming the identities and cultural legacies that shape who we are and how we live in the world. I believe that our shared theology, which at its best fortifies us to meet our differences with curiosity and grace, may act as a guidepost in a time when building community is more fraught and maybe more necessary than ever. When we come together as Unitarian Universalists, we decide how we want to be together. This is an attraction and an imperative of our faith, because in lieu of shared beliefs, we have shared behaviors. And in identifying them, we act alongside our siblings across time and space in the act of creating covenant. Covenant is a mutual sacred promise between individuals or groups to stay in relationship, to care about each other, and to work together in good faith. This is so idyllic in theory and so messy in practice. Parker Palmer, educator, activist, and author of our first reading, continues his commentary on community by saying, "In true community, we will not choose our companions, for our choices are so often limited by self-serving motives. Instead, our companions will be given to us by grace. Often they will be persons who will upset our settled views of self and the world. In fact," he continues, "we might define true community as the place where the person you least want to live with lives." Community is the highest aspiration of the heart, a place for us to embody together an aliveness and a set of ethics that may elude us individually. In a society and a global moment that obsesses over and lauds individualism, our ability and our willingness to nurture community is both a spiritual practice and a rejection of empire, which feeds on our separateness. Real community is what exists on the other side of convenience, calling us to heed our better angels and act in the interest of the common good. We don't do community because there's some assurance that it's always going to feel good. We commit to staying even when it doesn't. Many people draw parallels between nurturing a community and nurturing a marriage, playing the long game, not keeping score, extending grace, knowing it won't always be good and therefore not expecting that. But I have never been married, so I can't give you advice on that one. The idea is that we must, again and again, relinquish our expectations of purity or perfection. As functions of white supremacy, these conditions do nothing but separate us from each other, ourselves, and our shared future. These popular norms of individualism and competition, along with call-out and cancel cultures, create fertile ground for us to focus more on the risk of coming together than the benefit of it. Most of us really are not trained to have strong community muscles, yet here in this space, we share a value of interdependence, which calls us to remember that we are each but one tiny part of a much larger, more precious, regenerating community that spans to include ancestors, descendants, flora, fauna, and the land itself. It is a privilege to live within sight and sound of each other, to bear witness to the messiness that it is to become someone. As Adrienne Marie Brown says, we are brilliant at survival, but brutal at it. We tend to slip out of togetherness the way we slip out of the womb, bloody and messy and surprised to be alone. The belief in beloved community is something that anchors us both to the founding and to the future of our faith. So perhaps it's helpful to consider how we can continue developing skills in doing so. There is an article that I've been meditating over lately, in which the author suggests that people interested in building community de-escalate all conflict that isn't with the enemy. De-escalate all conflict that isn't with the enemy. If what Alexis Pauline Gumbs, author of our second reading, tells us is true, that knowing who we're with helps us know where we're at and where we want to be, then how do we differentiate between who is with us and who isn't? And how do we know who the enemy is? The enemy is not the person who has disrupted your worldview. It's not someone who has caused you an inconvenience. It's not the person whose strategy you don't understand as they work to achieve your shared goal. Yet circles of people doing the work of creating more justice, equity, and love in the world are often mired down by infighting, the perception of the other as wrong, or by expecting some version of perfection. Systems of oppression rely on us to turn away from each other, to abandon each other when sticking together becomes inconvenient, because that makes just enough space for the status quo to flow in and take over once more. Patriarchy relies on women abandoning each other in hopes of gaining greater proximity to power through men. White supremacy relies on people of color abandoning each other in hopes of gaining greater proximity to power through whiteness. But these systems of oppression, they are ill-prepared for us to find ways to collaborate and build across lines of difference, to build coalition. Coalition building is the act of forming an alliance between groups to increase overall power. Many voices speak louder than just one, and many of the most important societal changes can be attributed to the power of coalition. One of the most famous coalitions, between James Madison and Alexander Hamilton, paved the path to the ratification of our Constitution. These two worked together with others over 3 critical years to conceive, theorize, ratify, and then pass the US Constitution. And this feat was not made possible based on a best friendship that was built on tremendous similarity, as these two differed nearly as much as any two people could. Hamilton's tendencies to be charming, loquacious, vain, and immodest were foils to Madison's reserved humility, shrewdness, quiet intellect, and some would say frailty. Despite their differences, their cooperative efforts during a critical moment in time framed the governmental structure that we mostly still exist within today. The impact of coalitions isn't limited to national nation-founding politics. Coalition building between children's advocates, religious leaders, and unions to enact child labor laws in the early 20th century paved the path for workers' rights that protect us still today. And the vibrant political activity of the 1950s and 1960s saw coalitions support the passing of strong, life-affirming legislation that included the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act. In our shared faith tradition, coalitions have been formed and maintained to bring our values-aligned work to life, including the UU Climate Justice Coalition, the Unitarian Universalist Animal Ministry, Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, Diverse and Revolutionary UU Multicultural Ministries, the UU Women's Federation, and so many more. Through these various coalitions within Unitarian Universalism, where people have coalesced around a shared identity or interest, our circle of love has been made wider, more accessible, and we have been more impactful on the global community. Coalitions within our faith can also be credited with achieving many of our most important steps forward, too. This includes the hard work done in good faith by strongly convicted people who organized according to their values in 1961 that led to the merger of our 2 origin faith communities. It was also coalition work that codified the 8th principle, a statement of explicit anti-racism adopted by nearly 300 Unitarian Universalist communities and congregations, including our own. And most recently, in the analysis of our own founding documents, our co-religionists coalesced to replace our sources and principles with love-centered values. Now, it's important to not romanticize this work or shroud it in an ideal of ease or certain success. The work of coming together to accomplish a shared goal is as flawed as every person who's along for the ride. You don't have to look far either in Unitarian Universalism or the wider world to find examples of hard-fought coalitions who fell short of their goals or were waylaid by opposite and stronger forces outside their control. Even our own striving religious community has seen coalitions banded together in support of quite unsavory positions, including anti-abolition, eugenics, and apartheid. And back to the Constitution for a moment. Not only did James Madison and Alexander Hamilton not end life on good terms, by their respective deaths, they had each spent years ascribing bad motives on the other. You could even say they were partaking in some 18th century cancel culture. Their ideologies diverged so much that not only did they lose their friendship, but many of their differences are also entombed in the political structure that we exist in today. In retrospect, perhaps their coming together and finding such verdant common ground in the first place is the greatest surprise of all. I think these true and messy stories without fairy tale endings are important as we understand coalition building as a function of being in community, especially at a time when severe divisions foment so much distrust and violence. Every day, we see how the power of the people isn't always used for the collective good. But every day, we also see how the power of the people is sacrificed because we are too busy or too tired, or we lack the imagination or skills of communicating across difference. These systems of oppression that we are committed to dismantling are relying on our unwillingness to coalesce around what we have in common. The power of coalitions comes not from successfully establishing an echo chamber of many people with the same identity markers and viewpoints, but from finding consensus in diversity, from finding common ground that is firm enough to build on. Unlike communities, which have the potential to serve us for our whole life long, coalitions rise and fall based on necessity. These agreements we make to intentionally come together in recognition of a shared desired outcome is a chance for us to put our commitment to interdependence into practice. And in this season, as we consider and practice dissent, it's good for us to remember that while what we believe in and want to be true in the world is a strong tie that binds us together, what we want to end and defund and prevent are also things to coalesce around. The US Constitution is a tool that anticipates and supports political factional disagreement, and I think our covenants do the same. These documents solidify our commitment to behave a certain way, especially in groups, even in times of discontent, without expecting perfection. Now, perhaps you're thinking that right now is a precarious time to build an argument on the strength of the US Constitution, as every day we witness the attempt of its dismantling piece by piece. But then again, we can only be sure that tools work when we use them to do the job that they were meant for. September 17th was Constitution Day, which commemorates the document's creation and adoption. In this moment that some scholars are calling constitutional failure or collapse, legal scholar Aziz Rana suggests that this moment calls us not to rally around the Constitution, but to protect and expand meaning-making institutions that incorporate values of democracy and solidarity into everyday life and provide tangible services to the communities. It's a long quote, but I'm going to read it again. That this moment calls us not to rally around the Constitution, but to protect and expand meaning-making institutions that incorporate values of democracy and solidarity into everyday life and provide tangible services to their communities. That sounds a lot like the work that we do here. The founding and framing documents that shape our world and community are the best efforts of imperfect humans to respond to needs at a particular moment in time. And it is our charge to infuse these static words on a page with the energy and sustenance needed to carry us through difficult times. Our guiding documents, Constitution and Covenant, are aspirational. The community we build daily in our homes and hearts and public spaces, these are aspirational too. They say we'll protect and practice freedom, liberation, and change. They say we'll try to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to encourage one another. They do not say that this will be easy, or convenient, or without conflict. They do not glorify one strategy above another, and if they're concerned with true thriving, they generally don't lock the door behind anyone. So this is the lesson for us. Too often in community, we are willing to believe that our opponents are not just wrong, but are our enemies. We allocate finite, precious time to fostering contempt, and we obscure our own ability to do critical work in the world. So, as we work to live and lead and love in systemic collapse, let us remember this, that solidarity is power plus love plus direction. What we generate together, based on what we believe should be true or not, what we're willing to fight for with our whole lives and our whole hearts, is the string that connects us forward and back in time to all those who have built before us, and for all those sweet babies yet to unfold into the person that they're becoming. When we come together and create covenant, we are able to receive the love, grace, belonging, and forgiveness that already exists within us, mirrored back by others in a sacred affirmation of our interdependence. This happens especially in diverse spaces. As seekers, we willingly choose to love each other and stay in relationship over and over, again and again. And in this way, although the road may sometimes be rough, by leaning into the transformational power of our faith, we can always begin again in covenant to love. May it be so.
Please open your gray hymnals to number 121 to sing our final hymn. Please rise in body or in spirit, and we'll sing We'll Build a Land. We'll build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the royal of gladness dissolves all mourning. Oh, we'll build a promised land that can be. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land where we bring the good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and we'll give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll be a land building up ancient cities, raising up devastations from old. restoring ruins of generations. Oh, we'll build a land of people so old. We'll build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Build a land where the mantles of praises resound from spirits once base and once weak, where like oaks of righteousness stand her people. Oh, come build the land, my people we seek. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like ever-flowing stream.
Please join me in reciting the words to extinguish the chalice, which can be found in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
As we break our sacred space, may the abundance and care that we fostered here spill out into the wider world. May your work of living and loving be infused with a spirit of tenderness and the support of this community. May you carry softly the pressures of this world and remain open to the mystery of what's to come. Go in peace and power.
Time the sun come up, till the time I hit the hay, all the bills that I can't pay seem to pile up more each day. Love letters from my creditors that I'll just throw away. I go to work and start the grind, and the foreman, he won't mind. I ain't slept a wink in days, and my rent's a month behind. I come home and I see you. You fill me in on the bad news, and we sing another verse to this American Main Street blues. Got the keys, honey, hammering down headlights on the highway. Gravity, only thing gonna bring us down tonight. Bring us down tonight. We've all gotten used to our daily doses. I'm still holding out for bread and roses. Well, if you ever your house, you might not notice where there's mud, the most times there's a lotus. Grab the keys, honey, hammer down with lights on the highway. Gravity, honey, only thing gonna bring us down tonight. Grab the keys, honey, hand me down, headlights on the highway. Gravity, honey, only thing gonna bring us down tonight. Gravity, only thing gonna bring us down tonight. Gravity, only thing gonna bring us down tonight. Gravity, only thing gonna bring us down tonight. Bring us down tonight. Bring us down tonight.
Thank you for joining us. We want to know who you are and would love to connect with you. Please fill out the link to the online attendance form, and if you are on YouTube, click like and subscribe. If you're interested in joining our congregation, email us at membership@firstuuhouston.org. Thanks so much.